Well, how on the children to do this year? The Queen Quet coming to Hunter from John Island, South Kakalaki, right here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. Great God, the time this year day, y'all. Because this year day we all coming together for celebrate this year organization called the Progressive Club. After all of these years after they've been in existence, it finally get recognized. So we got one marker up on John Island and things like that, just down the road from the Moving Star Hall. Yeah, that way Hunter children with a yeah, this year song, y'all. Crazy, I tell you the truth is shouting there, y'all. And we're so glad for how all the family, y'all, who been working the Progressive Club back on and everything like that, and chilling, even there today, but we all celebrate. So we gonna give Hunter time for just tuning in a little while for see this year day, and thank God for this year day to come. 50 years after this year Civil Rights Act will start in the United States and things like that, we still be done had we civil rights and still pressing on for we human rights in the Gullah Geechee Nation. And Hunter children know if Hunter there with me, Hunter going know this year the work going on. Peace and blessing from Queen Quet and all of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So proud to still be progressive. Good afternoon.
I'm Evan Thompson. I'm Executive Director of the Preservation Society Council. And we're very honored to be able to be here. 2 years ago, we set out on a course to identify and recognize important sites related to our modern civil rights era history in the Charleston area. And we weren't quite sure where that would lead us, but I did have a feeling it would lead us here as one of those 5 sites that we've been able to provide the funding for these markers for. And I think it's fitting for an organization that believes that preservation is progress that we're here at the Progressive Club, and a site that recognizes a different kind of progress, a progress that is very difficult to achieve, takes a long time to achieve. Once we do achieve it, we know it's an ongoing task. It's important to recognize it with a permanent marker. We live in a time when so much is fleeting and digital and it comes and goes in a flash, but it's very important that we recognize sites progressive with a historic marker that will hopefully outlive all of us and continue to inspire others to take initiative to make their communities better places. And so I'd just like to thank you very much for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Aurora, who's going to lead us through the program. Thank you.
So much, Evan. Well, to start this off, we're going to have just a couple of remarks about the history of the site and its future, starting with Bill Saunders, the Executive Director of the Committee for Better Racial Assurance, and a local civil rights community leader here. So if we could have Bill Saunders.
Wow.
I'm wrong for that.
Thank you very much. I got to look at Bill Jenkins' face because he always give me time, 5 minutes. And with my language and background, I can't do nothing in 5 minutes. And normally they put me down, so Bill, there's so much in about the Progressive Club that's unknown about it. And we talk about 1948, but for some of us, it goes back to 1935. The Reverend Geechee Brown was here with 4 churches on the island, on Guatemala Island. The Reverend Brewer on the Presbyterian, 2 churches down the road. And they were the leaders, spiritual leaders. And Mr. Esau Jenkins at that time was just emerging as a leader. And there were many other ones around here. One of them that I talk about sometimes is Hogan Freeman. Hogan Freeman did the training for people with farming. And he did what the Progressive Club also was doing. He said colored people had to take what they had and make what they wanted. We couldn't hold it by exactly. We had to take our plow and make it for 3, 4, 5 different things. So we had those kinds of people. They really did a good job. I feel like the Progressive Club group was running since that 1935. I think it's underground just like the Angel Oak. And up to 1948, when, I mean, the problem that were being faced on these islands, all of the people, other people, members of Guatemala Island and John Island, the problem we have is one police officer that we had records at that point killed about 16 black males, killed something on their knees begging not to do it to me. And so there's a lot of emotional stuff that went back. I went to school for 8 years right in this hole where you're sitting at. There was school here, 3-room school was here, but that's a big site around. No lights, no heating system, no toilet. You know, you come out and go in the bushes or behind the places. So what I just wanted to do a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want this to just be a celebration or something. I'd like for this to be a history, looking at what we have come through. And most of the people don't ever get honored until they die. Right. We had police judge right down the road, Peter used to, on Friday evening, he gets up his country and stop black inspect the vehicle, find them, send some of them to jail. And a lot of people go to jail, and up where the county office building and all of those places are right now, Millicent, is where the county prison farm was. Mm-hmm. And so many black men suffered on that prison, but just lock them up, keep them for 10 days or 30 days, and turn them back loose. And right now, we are really reacting like nothing was ever wrong. And you know, just by God's grace to some of us, and the leaders of birds like Mr. Jenkins and some others, to give a trunk and some branches to Progressive Club. And I think that the Progressive Club is part of everything that we have ever achieved. Whether I talk about newspaper, whether I talk about radio, whether I talk about people running for office. Mr. Jenkins ran for office on John's Island in 1956. And Reverend, what they did after that, they stopped having elections. There was no more election held for officers for the school board from 1956 to 1970. And the only reason that happened then is that we went after them, that we were going to have our own, we were putting together our own black school board. But everything that you can think that folks talk about change, there's nothing that ever been changed in South Carolina or in Charleston area to help people, and there's somebody who's willing to die. But everything that we had on the line with it. And I am not good at going by any script or anything, but I just want to mention a couple of things that I'll sit down, because the last group of people that was in Progressive, because it made there was a guy named Robert Johnson who lived down the road working for, we all used to call the White Planet Captain, sharecropping Captain Geechee down there. And what they used to do is every time that the harvest time comes, they would do something so they would get the people off the land. Bob Johnson went and got his shotgun and wouldn't leave his land. You know, and nobody knows about all that. I mean, because that was automatic death, but nothing happened to them. And they had a lot of these guys that just was so strong and looked so tough. But I want to say that the few names of Progressive Club, Shani Bunkum, Jesse Bunkum, and Mr. Esau's business partner, Janie Jenkins. Ms. Janie did everything that she was secretary for Progressive Club, but any business venture that they was into, she was in charge. And one of the things that I admired because my wife and I can't ride 100 yards in the car without getting into an argument. But anytime that you're able to do that, it's a miracle within itself. We had Alice Wine, treasure. They get in trouble because nobody can get treasure if they ain't got no money. Right. Get mad with him on how treasures are chosen. These are Miss Alice Vine, the person that ran Progressive Club, John Smalls, Johnny Wickfall, Mr. Butcher's Fate. And when we got started, all of these folks just took time doing things. I coming down this road a while ago and I was shut up, but I saw a cop park down by the road. That's what used to be what happened when we had Progressive Club. There would be cop park on the road, and then when the meeting's over, they stop, spoke out their leave and give us that all that meeting that we were after the club. We didn't have no building then, would have be at Star Hall or whatever, but that's what the cops would do. So there's a lot of things that was going on. Normally I get involved in the thing that we're doing right now, and I sort of get emotional because there have been so much sacrifice that's been made. That people were able to come together, and we built. Every time we turned around, like we didn't have any school, no high school. So in 1950, I guess 1951, they built Pottsville High School because Mr. Jenkins and a lot of them were fighting them. And it's one of the things that I missed was I was going to be bused to work. And at April of that 51, I had to quit school. I went on. Then I didn't know that they were building school. That they built high school. You know, and I served 3 years in the Army. And I suffered no racism in the Army, United States Army, than I suffered any place in my life. And I came back, and I came back to California. I can ride in the same coach with the white guy I fought with for a year. Went to the bus station in Columbia and got put out, cop came on me with a gun. You know, said that you don't belong. Asked me where I belong. He said I didn't belong on there. I belong behind the Greyhound bus station. So I got out, when I got down, I joined the Progressive Club. That was in 1950. And they made me business manager, and the working relationship with the stuff that nobody talks about Mr. Esau Jenkins as it relates to business smart. I mean, he was a teacher in business, a leader way ahead of his time. We talk a lot now about things that he accomplished, but nobody talks about the methodology, that all his stuff he invented. Everybody else. We're not teaching any of that. We just show, fields and a lot of folk around up in the business and know the kind of attitude he had. And his biggest interest has always been his people. Everywhere he went, I'm got to do this for my people. But when we built this gymnasium back there, he went and told folks that we need somebody for my people to play basketball in the street. And him and I were able to hook up enough ways because I trust him, he trusts me, that we were able to get the money to build it. And the thing that is so important to us with this being today, Mr. Huff, is that they all was done by people on John Dollar. Every piece of work that was done on this building originally was done by craftsmen from the office. It's Ezekiel Jones who did all of the blueprints and all of that stuff. It was amazing that even how he made that roof still. I am through. I'll be around. But there's so much more about Progressive Club that need to be said. Bill is quivering right now. So.
That's all right. Thank you so much. All right, and next we're going to have some remarks from Abraham Jenkins, the eldest son of Esau Jenkins. And he might not use the mic, so he's going to project, all right?
Where's the mic from?
Oh, the mic? Okay, I'll hold it.
I would just like to say thank all of you for being here. And I know that if my father was here, what he would say. Thank God that we still have a chance. Yes. But just to piggyback on what Mr. Saunders just said, there were four distinct sections to the store on the front. What you see right here. In the middle was the gymnasium. And the back of it was some rooms, dormitory rooms, because it was too dangerous after a workshop here. But people decided to go back to church. Then later on, they put the porch on it, they called the patio. This piece on the side here. That was the patio, and that patio was a reading room, a relaxation room, and then the workshop. Well, I want to talk today from after Hugo. After Hugo had demolished this building, was a Reverend W.T. Goodwin, who was at Wesley Church right here in Georgetown. And he said he got tired of driving by this place here. And so the roof caved in. Everything is out of whack. He tried to do something to save West Club. So Reverend Goodwin suggested that why don't we start an advisory group to the board and see what can be done try to restore the Progressive Club. So right at that meeting was the Citizens Committee annual team meeting at Westwood. They had about, some people volunteered. I think it was Attorney Lane Jenkins, Reverend Robin Dees, Mr. Frederick Fields, Quinn Keller Grant, Ms. Ruby Dees, and Patricia Mack, and a few board members. But we were just kind of staggering. We weren't moving that fast. So Elaine took the ball, and she started it. First, she got the 501c3 for us, nonprofit. Then after she got that, we were talking about the history of the Progressive Club, so she got Mr. John Loring III, who was an expert in getting historic sites in the state. So Mr. Loring started working with the mayor, and they came up and started these rafters and stuff you saw laying on the floor days, because they were so amazed about how they could have constructed that building up there with no center post in it and maintained itself. And after they did that, we went to Columbia, and we saw, met with the people in Columbia, and got the historic site. Came back here when Elaine did this piece of property, there was a 10.4 acres of property right across the street. Belonged to Mr. Frederick Fields. He bought it. The promise that he made to Elaine at that time that the front 2 acres of his property would be for parking for the rest of it. So whatever the cost is, that's what you're paying. So after they were running around for a while, we met Mr. Dan Moore, good son, Mr. Fields, and tried to talk about making it a green belt. And trying to do that green belt, we found out that if we tried to do the 10 acres, the building would be too small. So Mr. Fields had an idea. Why don't we cut off the 2 acres and try to get a green belt for the 8.4 acres? And as we were going through that process, the green belt board decided that they would go 10.4 acres and let us use the first 2 acres, whatever we wanted, and no bigger than a 6,000 foot building. So we did that. I said, this is where we are, present time development. I stayed there too long. And I want to thank the Preservation Society. I want to thank you who are here. And God bless you.
Okay, and next we're going to have some remarks from Jackie Jefferson. She's the granddaughter of Esau Jenkins. She's going to talk a little bit about the women of the Progressive Club and the history and what they're doing now to help with the site. Thank you.
Thank you. The love bug was truly out. They know that love is progress. I'm going to speak a little bit about formal community bridge leaders, the past and the present. Leadership positions, not fixed identities, but roles that women assume as and when situations require them to do so, and in order to support political frames and ideologies of social movements. Are we our brothers and sisters keepers? These 13 plus women replied, yes indeed. Janie Bell Jenkins, the confidant, soulmate, protector of Esau Jenkins, business leader, business manager, and an original board member of Progressive Club Sea Island Center. Septima Poinsett Clark, NAACP member, a fire teacher of Charleston County School System, co-founder of the first citizenship education school on Johns Island. a soft-spoken, sweet woman who got things done. Anna Kelly, with Septima Clark, urged Esau Jenkins back in 1954 to attend Highlander Folk School's United Nation workshop on race relations. Mrs. Clyde of New York, the first donor of $7,000 toward the mission of progressive clubs after learning of the immediate needs of the Sea Islands. Sophia Horton made the first site visit to Johns Island from Highlander Folk School. Bernice Robinson, first teacher of the Citizenship School at Progressive Club Sea Island Center, Johns Island. Ethel Jenkins Wimble, former board member of Progressive Club, first teacher of the Citizenship School on Wadmalaw Island at Salem Presbyterian Church. Eileen Brewer Woods, known as the grandmom of the islands, helped lay the foundation in Citizenship School at Edisto Island. Fannie Lou Hamer, a woman who was sick and tired of being sick and tired, trained and involved in Citizenship School voter registration certification. Alice Wine, one of the 13 original board members of Progressive Club Sea Island Center and served as treasurer. Scholar of the Citizenship School to later coach a person to voter registration certification. Anna Vastine, a 65-year-old scholar that brought goose pimples to Bernice Robinson because she was progressing in literacy. Anna was able to identify her own name. Mary Bell Howe and Mamie Garvin Fields, members of the Methodist Church Women United, assisted in providing basic services for migrant and seasonal farm workers, which started at the Progressive Club Sea Island Center. Last but not least, and many more, Mazzy Buncombe, a former board member. All these women smile on us today. Today, we take a moment to acknowledge women that have and are still making a difference, believing in the works of Progressive Club Sea Island Center of Johns Island. Not to leave anyone out, but to name a few. Marie Jenkins Jones, Candy Carawan, Mary Twining, Dr. Myrtle Glasgow Green, Attorney Elaine Jenkins, Reverend Robin Dees, Dr. Millicent Brown, Pastor Kay Colleton, Kay Grimble Colleton, Andrea Casey, Alice Guest. In closing, as the late Esau Jenkins would say, if you like the way things are, then make it better, but don't be complacent. If you don't like it, then change it. Together, let us be committed to doing everything that we can to help people in order that we may help ourselves. If it is to be, it's up to me. Every man, woman, boy, and girl. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Jackie. All right, and now for the unveiling. My name is Aurora Harris. I'm the Community Outreach Manager for the Preservation Society of Charleston. And I have been working on this project for 2 years now, and this is very, very exciting for me and hopefully for you guys as well. I'm going to read the text of the marker, and then we're going to go over and take off the sheet and unveil it for all to see. The Progressive Club, built in 1962 to 1963, was a store and community center for Johns Island and other sea islands until it was badly damaged by Hurricane Hugo in 1989. The club had been founded in 1948 by civil rights activist Esau Jenkins, 1910 to 1972, who worked to improve educational, political, economic, and other opportunities for blacks on the island and in the Low Country. Inside 2 reads, Jenkins, Septima Clark, 1898 to 1987, and Bernice Robinson, 1914 to 1994, founded the Citizenship School in 1957 to encourage literacy and voter registration. Its success led to many similar schools across the South, called the base on which the whole civil rights movement was built. The Progressive Club was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2007.
Thank you to the Progressive Club and all of you invested in this place over the years. It's my honor to be here, quite frankly. I'm here as a representative of the Clemson Architectural Center, which is part of the Clemson University School of Architecture. We have three off-campus programs that our students who have a chance to study at the university up there in Clemson, to live and work and study in other cultures and other environments. We have a facility in Genoa, Italy, a facility in Barcelona, Spain, and a program here in Charleston, South Carolina. Because we wanted to give our students, many of whom are from rural areas and places that perhaps don't really understand and appreciate the culture of their own place, yet alone the culture of the world, and the varied cultures, and yet they're asked as architects to design buildings that have a sense of permanence and endurance that also reflects on that culture. So we try to expose students to various different things. And I started this program 25 years ago. And part of the idea is to take a student who's studying in a fairly rural area of Clemson to work with one of the most remarkable cities in America, here in Charleston, and work within an urban environment, which is really part of the key thing. This project, on the other hand, was one of the first projects we've done outside of the city, and a delight to do it. Let me tell you a little quick story about the students that we have. Let me back up and say that one of the things that I've always believed as an educator, that education really is a transformative experience. It's about making people aware of their potential and their purpose in the world. To impart that to young people is a great joy and a real pleasure, and part of the reward of why I do it, why Millicent and many others who are teachers, like my mother, who was a former teacher, have done it over the years. And I brought my students. We had 8 students, because when I heard about this project through Alice Guess, I said this would be an ideal opportunity to have 8 students present a series of 4 design proposals that the Progressive Club hopes to realize. All 8 of my students are white students. They're no longer with us. They've moved on now. This was 2 years ago. And I can tell you, after their meeting Bill Jenkins, Mr. Fields, Reverend Kay, Jackie, Miss Jackie, and others, that they truly had a transformative experience. We did some research trying to understand and help them understand the history of the Progressive Club, but they also needed to understand the history of Johns Island and the islands in general. Because you can't understand the Progressive Club unless you understand that history, which is what Bill Saunders spoke about and what Mr. Jenkins spoke about. The embedment of our experience in place is so important to who we are as a people. So students need to understand that. And they did all this research, but then they had a chance to visit one of the old praise houses, Movie Star Praise House, and meet folks who were part of that experience in the beginning, and newcomers who have been a continuation of that effort over the years. And that was really an awakening moment for them. They knew that Mr. Jenkins used the bus to transport people back and forth to the island. And he used that, in a sense, as a classroom to educate people, which is an extraordinary thing. When they came out here and looked over and saw that little green bus over there, they had in mind some enormous bus, and they didn't realize the scale of this. His journey, that unit, was really quite remarkable to them. So they took that with heart and engaged the project with a kind of vigor and energy that we don't typically see from students. What they came up with, and what they were asked to do, was to look at the restoration of this great artifact and to design a community center on this other site. And initially, we were charged with restoring this building. And the students walked around and thought about it a great deal, and they said, why try to restore this? There are all sorts of legal reasons why there's no parking, access is an issue, there are a number of issues. They said, why don't we understand this place as a ruin? Now, when you say a ruin, that sounds like it's something that's meant in ill, but it's not. A ruin because it celebrates in its magnificence of what it has been, the history of this place. So each student elected, as opposed to trying to restore the building, to make the investment in a new, much larger facility across the street, which will allow the Progressive Club in this community to do the things that they did back in 1948, back in 1926, which to enable people to find ways of empowering themselves, which is an important, has always been an important credo of Mr. Jenkins and the current membership for the Progressive Club. So the challenge was to make this, in a sense, a museum site. They proposed all of these schemes. You see 4 schemes here, and I invite you afterwards to take a look at these. There are additional drawings under the other tent. Was to first stabilize the structure, which was destroyed in Hurricane Hugo in 1989, to develop exhibitry so that you could tell the story of this place. So someone who may be passing by would be maybe clued in by that, but a broader story, a much more comprehensive story could be told about this history in this facility. And they moved forward with that. There's 4 variations of that. One student decided to put a perforated wall around the site, images of the founders of the Progressive Club. One student proposed putting a roof that would float over this. It would have slits of light in it, and that light would cast lines of light on the floor, and that would be a trail that sort of tells the story of the Progressive Club and its history. So there are many variations in that idea. We were really excited about that. The design for the facility across the street is one in which they've envisioned a large multi-purpose space, a series of classrooms for various programming. It's so important. There's so many opportunities that are available for programs that would enable the community to have computer training, for example, nutritional programs, any number of programs that might be available. We also started working with the Clemson Extension Service, and they have worked closely with the group to develop a strategic plan, and I believe very confidently, after talking to Harry Chrissy yesterday, that we feel we have opportunities to realize funding in part for this facility. So I'm, as a representative of Clemson, I'm delighted to be a part of it, have been a part of this experience, but just as a Charlestonian, to learn what I learned about the island was really quite a revelation and transformative. So I invite you at the end of this to look at these. I'll be around if you have any questions. But I thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to work with this remarkable group of people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Funding is always very, very exciting. Next, we're going to have Colin Cuskley. He's the Executive Director of the Johns Island Conservancy. He's going to say a few quick words to kind of end this ceremony. There's going to be sweet tea, lemonade, and cookies. And there's also tours available of the Moving Star Hall where the Progressive Club got its start. There's a little informational sheet. And we have a big Preservation Society flag. It's right up the road. So if you're interested in taking tours after the ceremony, that's there for you as well. So, Colin, if you could come close us out.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Preservation Society for this initiative to mark her out here. It's great that they're expanding out into the greater Charleston area with a number of projects, and also to be honoring some of the civil rights locations. I'd also like to thank everyone from the Progressive Club and all of you here for allowing us to participate, even in a small way. It's an honor to be here. I want to just say briefly about the Johns Island Conservancy. Our mission is to protect the habitat and wildlife, as well as the historical resources of Johns Island. And we got involved with the Schoolhouse Museum, which is down at the end of Johns Island, down where Rosebank Farms is, roughly. And we did an exhibit this year from the Tree of Life book, which many of you are familiar with, I'm sure. So we have a bit of that over there. I just want to say briefly about Esau Jenkins that I really knew last few years for learning about him. And actually, when I first learned about him, what struck me, and actually learned about him from my wife reading and telling me about it, is that when he saw something that had to be done, he went out and did it himself. And I thought that was really the kind of thing that inspired me from little things, learning Greek, getting the bus going, starting working with the credit union, whatever needed to be done, he'd go out and do it. And one thing that sums that up for me, Jackie has already mentioned, and I read recently that Abraham Jenkins, in quoting your father, had said that if it is to be, it is up to me. And that was the quick summary, I think, of what Esau Jenkins and the Progressive Club is about. It's a great line that I try to keep in mind all the time. And I would say to any of you, if you're interested in getting involved in things, if something concerns you, well, then get involved. Get out there and do things. And again, I thank you all for having us here. We, as Aurora said, have some iced tea and lemonade cookies over there, and the exhibit from Tree of Life, a few of the panels. I was going to say I'll try to answer some questions, but more likely I already know there's more of you who can answer some of those questions, and perhaps you could tell me more about the history of that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.